A military standoff between India and China in the Himalayas is spilling over into the online realm. The neighbors are blaming each other for escalating tensions in the disputed border region of Ladakh.
India's actions have gravely infringed upon China's territorial sovereignty, undermined the relevant agreements and consensus reached between the two countries, and harmed the peace and stability in border areas.
India's government has hit back by banning 118 apps. It accuses software developers of helping Chinese authorities spy on Indians.
In view of the emergent nature of threats, it has decided to block 118 mobile apps. Since in view of information available, they are engaged in activities which is prejudicial to sovereignty and integrity of India, defense of India, security of state and public order.
Being restricted in India could be very costly for some Chinese companies. Tencent's multiplayer battle game PUBG has been downloaded more than 93 million times and generated nearly $40 million in revenue since its release in India in 2018. Conversely, Indians who've relied on apps like TikTok to make a living will also suffer.
After the ban, I don't know what the future holds. For me personally, it's a huge loss because whatever little money I was making from my TikTok content, even that is now over. We would have to return to our previous jobs and try to earn money. I will also try to explore other social media platforms.
After skirmishes along their border and an exchange of fiery rhetoric, China and India are calling for a diplomatic solution.
Now, the way ahead is negotiations, both through the diplomatic and military channels. The Indian side is firmly committed to resolving all outstanding issues through peaceful dialogue.
Until that happens, the livelihoods of many developers and users, as well as the lives of those living along the disputed border, remain under threat. Mobin Nasir, TRT World.
Well, for more on this, I spoke to Srikanth Kondapalli in New Delhi. The professor of Chinese studies at Jawa-harlal Nehru University says without a resolution on India's border disputes with China, New Delhi will likely pile on more pressure on Beijing.
Well, after the 1962 border clashes, there was the normalization in 1988. And the basic premise of the normalization was pending territorial dispute resolution and maintaining peace and stability on the borders. They will expand relations in the bilateral other fields like economy and so on and so forth. Since the June 15th night incident resulted in 20 Indian soldiers being killed, the Indian Foreign Minister on June 19 stated to his counterpart, Mr. Wang Yi, that no, it is no longer business as usual. Secondly, the whole of the bilateral relations are based on maintaining peace and stability in the border areas. And since this has not been maintained, so India has been taking these actions, including the app ban. There is also the restriction on Chinese investments in the infrastructure projects. Thirdly, there is also a crackdown on illegal financial flows. Then we are also hearing that there will be some kind of restrictions in terms of people-to-people contacts, educational institutions, or on other aspects of economic, especially, for instance, in terms of increasing tariffs on Chinese products, which India imports something like 2,000 items, of which some 377 are of high value, something like $65 billion. So probably the axe will also fall on these aspects if the territorial dispute resolution does not really usher in peace and stability in the borders.
Now, another effective sanction that New Delhi has implemented recently is banning Huawei from its 5G networks. And I'm wondering, with this measure, the ban on apps and the other measures that you mentioned, is that an effective way to apply pressure on China? Do you think Beijing is going to be responding in the way that India would like in light of these measures?
As of now, the Chinese have not responded in kind to the Indian app ban or on other restrictions. However, it looks like this is going to expand into the other fields. Number one, the Chinese investments have been very little, very small compared to other countries. It's just about $8.2 billion for an economy which is $14 trillion. Chinese economy is just about $8.2 billion of investment in India. Secondly, the app ban is selective in nature. For example, the TikTok, which has nearly 1/4 of its downloads installations in India, it just has an employment generation of just about 500 people. So these are not labor intensive in nature. These are not generating enough jobs. So there is a selective application of these restrictions by the Indian government. So there is no way that China also can make some noise about these, because China has also banned several IT related, like Google, Facebook, or others. So in terms of cybersecurity aspects, the Indian side appears to be on an even keel. So that is where we see the problem that China is not able to retaliate at the moment. The other thing is the app ban resulted in a lot of loss of revenues for these applications.